Once upon a dreary day, I found myself at the gates of Manchester Airport, Manchester, a place that would become the setting for a tale of woes and tribulations. With a heart full of hope and a pocket full of dreams, I embarked on a journey that would leave me yearning for the comfort of a world untainted by the chaos that lay within. As I approached, a cruel reality struck me like a cold winter's breeze, the charge to drop a loved one at the doorstep of their adventure. 5, they demanded, for the privilege of a brief farewell. It was as if the airport sought to tax the very emotions that bind us, a fee for affection disguised as a parking charge. The payment process, a labyrinth designed not for convenience, but for confusion, seemed almost a trap, baited with the unwary's own haste. The airport itself was a sight to behold, yet not in the way one might hope. Dirt and grime clung to every surface, a testament to a neglect that whispered tales of understaffing and underfunding. The once proud travelators lay dormant, their silence a stark contrast to the cacophony of complaints that echoed through the halls. And trolleys, those simple servants of convenience, were not a gift but a luxury, hidden behind a paywall that seemed to laugh in the face of common decency. Security queues sprawled like a serpent, winding through the terminal, a tangible symbol of inefficiency and frustration. Each minute that ticked by was a minute stolen from the precious time we had to explore, to dream, to simply be. It was as if the airport reveled in our discomfort, a puppeteer pulling the strings of our patience, stretching it thin until it snapped like a brittle twig underfoot. The extortionate fees were but a prelude to the symphony of discontent that awaited within. Terminal 3, a realm of limited seating, mocked the unity of families, forcing them to scatter like leaves in the wind, each seeking a solitary throne from which to await their fate. The food outlets, islands in a sea of hunger, were besieged by queues that rivaled the Great Wall in both length and futility. As I wandered through this maze of discontent, I found myself lost in a world where signs were riddles and every wrong turn was a step closer to a fine. 100, they threatened, for the audacity to misunderstand their cryptic instructions. It was a game of chance, a roulette wheel where the house always won, and the chips were our hard-earned money. The restrooms, those sacred sanctuaries of solitude, were without grace or cleanliness, a reflection of the disdain with which the airport regarded its captive audience. Wi-Fi, a lifeline to the outside world, was a fickle friend, offering moments of connectivity before vanishing like a mirage in the desert. And oh, the irony of the interminable waits, the gates announced at the last possible moment, sending waves of travelers crashing against the shores of their departure points. It was a dance choreographed by chaos, a ballet where no one knew the steps, and the orchestra played only the music of discord. As my tale draws to a close, I am left with a heart heavy with the weight of 1,000 tiny cuts, each a paper cut of the soul, inflicted by a place that should have been a gateway to the skies, but instead became a prison of misery. Manchester Airport, Manchester, a place where dreams go to die, and the only thing that soars is the price of simply being there. So, my dear friends, let us not speak of this place.
The businesses circling Manchester Airport feel like they were all built on the same rainy Tuesday, when everyone's rent was due, and the last fiver had already gone to the parking meter. Walk out of the terminal, and the whole strip seems to sigh. Welcome to Britain. Now open your wallet and prepare to be gently mugged by neon. Hotels, cafes, clubs, shopping temples, each one promises a soft landing. Yet most deliver the same sting-high prices, low warmth, and the faint smell of someone else's chips lingering in the carpet. Take the Trafford Centre, the palace of plastic marble 10 minutes up the road. From the sky, it probably looks like a wedding cake left out in the rain. Inside, it feels like a fever dream, where every clock has been replaced by a perfume advert. People shuffle under fake chandeliers, clutching carrier bags, as if the bags themselves were medals of honor. The toilets near the bus station have become a sort of modern art installation titled Abandon Hope. All ye who enter here, one visitor swore he saw a row of soap dispensers that hadn't worked since the Queen's silver jubilee. Another claimed the floor was so sticky his shoe made the same noise as a plunger for 3 corridors. When a place can't even keep soap alive, you start to wonder what else is quietly dying. Slide a little closer to the runway, and you meet the airport in Manchester, a building that looks like it once had self-esteem, and then discovered airport parking charges. Guests check in dreaming of an early flight and a soft pillow. They check out feeling like they spent the night inside a giant kettle that someone forgot to descale. The walls are thin enough to let you hear your neighbor dream, and every flush in the building travels like a ghost through the pipes, arriving under your nose as a warm, personal reminder that life is unfair. One man in room 102 said the air smelled like the inside of a trainer after a marathon. And when he asked for help, the night manager offered him a look that said, "Sir, we all suffer here. Fire alarms apparently lullaby the corridors every night." Some guests thought it was a dawn chorus, until they realized birds don't usually scream for 6 hours. If you survive the night and fancy a civilized meal, San Carlo Fiorentina in Hale waves a white tablecloth at you from behind the airport fence. From the street, it whispers, "Italy." But inside it often shouts, "Manchester," on a bad day. Waiters glide past like swans who have forgotten they can ask for water. And you may age a year before it arrives. A couple celebrating 36 years of marriage waited so long for their anniversary steak that they started to wonder whether the cow was still being born. When the food finally landed, the steak had been cooked past well done and into the territory of family heirloom. They politely asked for the service charge to be removed. The machine replied by printing the charge twice, as if to say, "We dare you." Another diner tried the scallops, 5 tiny lifebuoys drowning in so much salt he could have floated them across the Dead Sea. At those prices, you expect a violinist, not a lifeguard. Should night fall and you still have money left, Bijou Club will gladly relieve you of it. The doormen greet you with the warmth of bouncers who remember losing at bingo. Once inside, you discover that breathing costs extra. A sofa is not a sofa. It is minimum spend, and the minimum feels like a mortgage deposit. A birthday group from Scotland paid £500 for a booth the size of a garden shed, then watched the staff move them to a 2-seat table because the other one flooded. Flooded with what? Tears of laughter. No one explained. The music is loud enough to rearrange your heartbeat, yet the dance floor can feel emptier than a Ryanair cancelled flight queue. One guest swore she saw a man pay £10 for a glass of something that tasted like cheap lemonade, wearing a tuxedo.
When the lights come up, you half expect to find your shoes have been taxed. Even the innocent-looking brunch spots join the conspiracy. Pot Kettle Black sits inside a pretty arcade that smells of old books and new rent. You order sourdough and eggs, imagining a cozy corner. Instead you receive a breakfast the size of a postage stamp and a bill the size of a birthday card. The bacon arrives so overcooked, it could be used as shrapnel. The coffee, promised large, turns up thimble-sized and lukewarm, as if someone whispered caffeine at a cup of milk. A vegetarian asked for no egg. Smell the plate. I am looking into crimes near Manchester Airport, Manchester, and I keep feeling like the whole place is a little too bright for the dark things that happen. Businesses near Manchester Airport, Manchester are often shiny storefronts that promise quick deals for tourists, but they sometimes hide cheap tricks. One of those tricks was a fake designer shop in the city centre that sold real Gucci and Louis Vuitton bags to visitors. The tourists paid hundreds of pounds, took the bags home, and then the bags fell apart after a day. The victims probably went back to the shop asking for refunds, got ignored, and eventually reported it to Trading Standards. The shop got raided, the fake stock was seized, and the owners likely faced fines or even jail, while the tourists were left feeling embarrassed and out of cash for the rest of their 2-week stay. Businesses near Manchester Airport, Manchester are also like that bogus taxi desk you sometimes see inside the airport shops. In September 2023, a group of travellers were approached by people standing behind a sign that said official taxi desk. They were handed